This way too early Daytona 500 picks edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Bet365. Bet365 is offering new users a $1,000 risk-free bet. Sign up today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bet365. We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com and use code SGPN to get 50% off of your first month and start making smarter bets today. We're also brought to you by Gametime. Gametime has last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Use promo code CFBX for $20 off of your first purchase. And in honor of Veterans Day, everything in the merch store is 10% off with promo code VETS. That's VETS. All proceeds from this sale will be donated to Mission 22, a nonprofit serving those who have served.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you asked me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Just when you thought there was no NASCAR to talk about, it is the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. We are here to prove that theory wrong. The books, they gave us some Daytona odds, and guess what? Here we are to talk about them because that's what we do on this show, right? We don't just, this is not the NASCAR sit around for the next couple of months podcast. No, this is the NASCAR Gambling Podcast. So, Cody, we've got odds to talk about. By God, we're going to talk about them.
We are going to talk about them. NASCAR betting season never sleeps. It always continues to go. Books, shout out to them. They were on it. The championship race ended. Boom. You got championship odds up. You got Daytona 500 odds up. Already starting to see a trickle out of some to make the final four. There's only two drivers, Alex Bowman and Zane Smith, on that list right now. But that means that we're getting more, right? That's what you're looking for. So, I'm excited. Stuff's already starting to come out. We've got betting to talk about. It is only 96 days, I believe, until the Daytona 500, which means we're roughly around 82 days until the Clash of the Coliseum. But who's counting? Of course, I'm excited. Oh, man, it's nice to have a little week off, right? We kind of took last week off after the recap show. Relaxed. We got the F1 Gambling Podcast out earlier this week, so make sure you go check that out. And Nick Fortune, this guy will not leave me alone. I'm telling you.
Oh, Nick introduced. We are live, of course, as we are going to be from now on until the foreseeable future. So, again, if you're listening to this on the regular podcast feed, join us. Have some fun with us as well. Rye Cape, always a staple. What's good, fellas? What's good, Rye? Old-fashioned football says it's never too early to listen to you gents talk NASCAR.
Hey, Thursday. Check out Old-fashioned football on Thursday. I will be on there, possibly. Hopefully, you'll be on there for at least a little bit. But yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah, so here, this is me confirming to you, Justin, because I know you're listening. I will be joining your show. Yeah, I'll be listening. I'll be joining your show for about a half hour until I got to go pick up the kid. Nick Fortune says, "Hey Rod, maybe you should ask Cody about his fantasy football matchup." I'm assuming
2 for 3 against Nick Fortune this year, so I've beat him 2 or 3 times. He did get me in our Pirate League this week, which means he got to take Christian McCaffrey from me, which is very painful. But it's all right. I will recover and still beat you in all the 3 of these leagues.
I love it. All right. So as we talked about, the Daytona 500, obviously kicking off the official start of the regular season for 2024. And because, I mean, we're a week removed now from the championship race, doesn't matter. It's ready to start looking forward to this Daytona 500. Daytona, obviously the biggest wild card, basically especially the Daytona 500. I know we talk a lot about how super speedways are always a roller coaster ride of whatever, right? I mean, you got guys from the front to the back, from the back to the front, and then all over the place. So, but the Daytona 500 always ratchets it up. So if you're brand new to NASCAR, and I have a feeling we may get some new folks over the course of the next few weeks here as we gear up to it, because this episode here, it lasts well into the off season, right? There's people that kind of Google this Daytona 500 and this pops up for them. So
if you're listening to this in February, welcome. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. And we'll have another episode with all of our Daytona 500 picks closer to the Daytona 500, of course. But it's nice to get a good early look, see where the odds are at. You get some action out there. It's always nice to have that early ticket. You go back and you look and you're like, oh damn, look at this number I got this guy at. I've been on this bet since the end of November. Middle of November, really. Oh, feels good when you cash a ticket like that.
Well, and then also, it's also good to see where the books heads are at. I mean, obviously, we're reacting to what we saw at the end of last season, right? We're reacting to everything that took place toward the last month, and I mean, maybe even the last race, as far as some of these odds that we're seeing right now going. I mean, recency bias is pretty big in this instance. So, not necessarily looking back at what happened to last Daytona 500 even. So some of these prices that we're seeing early could very well be far shorter than, or even far longer rather than what we get closer to the Daytona 500 speed weeks and all that other stuff. So if you're waiting to see how they perform, then you may not get the same price and you may actually lose out on a good deal if you're doing that.
Yeah, exactly. You laid out the case perfectly.
It's never been my preference to have. I'm gonna just leave that one there, but I will put this one up. Shout out to Rod and his Dunder Mifflin hoodie. Yeah, I definitely love this one. So again, if you're on Facebook or Twitter or YouTube, you'll get to see all that stuff. But
beautiful.
Yeah. So anyways, Cody, again, the excitement of it all, like I said, if you're brand new to the sport of NASCAR, if for some reason you were just Googling Daytona 500 and this popped up, we'll tell you, welcome to the sport. You are going to have a blast with us this season. And we just wrapped up the regular season. So we're moving on to 2024, even though it's still November of 2023. We're like Christmas in that the day after Valentine's Day, we're already looking forward to Christmas.
That's right. Except the day after Christmas, we're already looking forward to Christmas.
This is actually true. Nick Fortune actually has a real question before we get to our break. Here's my question. Do you see Kyle Larson taking a step back this year because he has high limit sprint cars and now the All-American circuit sprint cars to focus on?
Nope.
I don't think so.
I mean, he's been doing it already. Like he's raced multiple times throughout the week. He's still one of the best drivers in the world, if not the best driver in the world. And honestly, I think we've seen it, right? Him focusing on that stuff and just racing all the time, I think it translates to Sundays. And yeah, I don't see that him taking a step back at all. And I think that I think it's going to be the same Kyle Larson we saw this season, where you're going to have your ups and downs, right? And he's going to be a favorite every week, even though he's only going to win. You know, he's probably good for 5 to even 10 wins. I mean, as he gets to learn this new car more and more, I mean, there was the big changes, right? You brought everybody back to the level field, but Hendrick's always going to have that step ahead of everyone else. And Kyle Larson's going to have that step ahead of everybody else. We know how good Cliff Daniels is. Like, they're just going to keep getting better and better. Does it result in the championships all the time? Maybe not because of the Final Four format, but is he going to continue to be the favorite every week at most tracks and continue to be one of the best drivers in the world always? Yes, absolutely.
And let's be perfectly clear. The driving aspect of it, this is what they do. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're driving a semi-truck or a sprint car. The concentration level to drive is the same. Once you get in that car, once you get in that vehicle, it doesn't change. I mean, I know that sometimes we're always bent out of shape about always getting a sprint car, always getting in a cup car, always getting a truck. And I know they all drive differently and they all have different characteristics, but the basic function of driving doesn't change. And for a guy as talented as Kyle Larson, it's all muscle memory at this point. It's all just getting in and getting reacquainted with what he's driving.
Yeah, and for a guy like that does it so much and that lives and breathes it and has his entire life, there is no difference in a sprint car to him and a cup car. Like, he's not getting in and, okay, what am I doing differently? He's just getting in and driving the race car that he is sitting in because he's just that fucking good to be like, that's what it boils down to.
I wish I was half as good as him at anything as he is the driving.
Like a 100th of as good at anything as he is with at just driving the fuck out of anything and everything. Except at super speedway races, which we might talk about in a few minutes.
And we're going to definitely talk about that in a few minutes. But first, let me tell you about our Veterans Merchant Store discounts in honor of Veterans Day. Everything in the merch store is 10% off with the promo code VETS. That's VETS. All proceeds from the sale are going to be donated to Mission 22, a nonprofit serving those who served. Cody and I definitely back this endorsement. We are very highly praising of this organization, and definitely your donations will be going to a very great cause. So please make sure to take advantage of this 10% off in our merch store. Support a great cause, score some sweet gear. Store.sportsgamblingpodcast.com, promo code VETS. We're brought to you by Bet365. Bet365 is the world's favorite sportsbook, trusted by over 88 million players worldwide. Props, sides, totals, live betting. Bet365 has you covered. If you like boosts, you're going to love Bet365. Like a 30% profit boost on your NFL same-game parlay. Plus, they even have an early payout offer if your team goes up 17 points. Sign up today. Choose from 2 bonus offers, either a $1,000 no-sweat bet or you bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets. Just head to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bet365. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bet365, or use the sign-up link in our show bio. Problem gambling? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. We are also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog has a way, as I find that right there, Underdog has a way to play alongside your favorite fantasy players all season long. NFL, NBA, NHL, college basketball, and college football. Simply pick higher or lower on your favorite players' fantasy stats and cash in. We've given you so many fantastic Underdog plays, and we'll continue to do so all through the season long once we get closer to races. So watch along, make your picks, maybe make a little cash over on Underdog's mobile app or website, underdogfantasy.com. When you use the promo code SGPN, Underdog's going to double that first deposit up to $100. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code SGPN. Well, Cody, again, as we have alluded to, this is the Daytona 500 Picks Edition for 2024. We are definitely thinking that far ahead. Daytona, it's always a crapshoot. No bigger crapshoot result than, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. taking home the 500 last season. Ricky Stenhouse for everybody that's out there. And he wins the Daytona 500. That just means, Cody, anybody's in play. Anybody's in play.
Yeah, I mean, really, it does. It comes down to, we talk about this at super speedways, right? It survive till the end, be there at the end, have yourself a chance. Travis Pastrana finished 11th place in this race last season not because he was great throughout the day and he was a master of the draft or anything like that. He avoided the chaos. He was alive at the end. Again, it was a great show, like the Daytona 500 always is. You look back at some of the winners over the previous years. Ricky Stenhouse, he was definitely a longer shot. I want to say he was in the 75-ish range, maybe to 1, something like that. Michael McDowell, he was more than 100 to 1. Austin Cindric, a rookie, coming in, and it wasn't his first Cup Series start. He had a couple of starts in the book, but first start of his rookie campaign, he wins the Daytona 500. I think he was 80 to 1, 90 to 1, something like that. Obviously, Denny Hamlin won a couple there in a row, so some shorter odds there as well, but it's open to anyone and everyone. And we've had a lot of long shot guys win this race, over the past few seasons. So that just goes to show you, again, you can bet really just about anybody in this field. obviously, at this point, it's middle of November right now, so we don't have the full, what open cars are going to be in there and stuff. And BJ McLeod, you're probably not going to bet him. And you can't even, can you count out the Rick Ware cars this year? I mean, you got Justin Haley in one of the Rick Ware cars. So you can bet on a Rick Ware car to win this race. Maybe not the other one. We'll see who's in it, right? But the Beard car, if they come back, maybe not the 50 car if it shows up, but there's probably going to be a third 2311 car. You're probably going to get that extra call car. I mean, again, you're going to be able to bet these guys. We've seen it. Trevor Bayne was fifth career start when he won it, youngest winner ever. Anybody and everybody can win this race. And this is the one that makes your career. Once you've won this race, you'll forever be known as a Daytona 500 champion. And every single NASCAR driver wants that on their resume.
So Ricky Stenhouse was 33-1 to win this race.
Really? Was that? Oh, I was thinking it was longer than that.
That was back in, I'm looking at the date on this. I don't see a date on the article, but this is straight from 19 February. So this is closer to the Daytona 500. He was 33-1. BJ McLeod, by the way, 350-1 last year to win this race. So that was fantastic. The guy with the shortest odds to win the race was Denny Hamlin at 12-1. Then it went to Chase Elliott at 12-1, Ryan Blaney at 12-1. So you were getting longer odds that much closer to the race than you were. And also Kyle Larson 14-1, which, by the way, is we're never touching any part of that. So not good there. So,
yeah. Okay. Well, I was thinking he was longer, but either way, again, that shows you even more, right? You had Hamlin, who's a favorite. You've had Stenhouse in the 30s range. You've had the McDowells. You had the Cindrics. So it can be just about anybody on the board.
It can, and it will. All right. So let's do this. Let's do what we did kind of last season. Take a little dive into these odds, laying out maybe the first, 5 drivers, because these are the ones obviously that the books think are going to be competing in this one. Starts at the top with the 2023 NASCAR Cup Series champion, Ryan Blaney, at 9-1, 10-1 in other places. I don't know, Cody. I know that you could bet on anybody, but Ryan Blaney has won once here since 2021. I don't know. I know that he's good, but does it carry over, and is it worth 9-1?
At that short of odds, probably not as much. I mean, I don't know, but it's Ryan Blaney, right? Something I will mention, and I'll have better statistics on this as we kind of look at when we get to breaking down, the odds of the over-unders for the wins on the season. But the championship hangover is a real thing. We've seen it since Jimmy Johnson repeated the last time. The championship hangover has been a huge thing, and guys have struggled. So to win the championship, turn around and win the Daytona 500 might be a little tough, but he just won at Talladega, the most recent super speedway race we had, right? So obviously that recency bias is in there. You go back and you look at his finishes at Daytona. Sure, he finished 36th here in the fall, but he was 8th in the 500 this past season. He was 4th in 2022 in the 500. He had a 30th then in 2021, but 2020 he ended up here in second place here. So he's definitely been very close. He's one of the guys you would put on that Mount Rushmore of super speedway guys in the series right now. So definitely not a guy you can count out. I'm not racing to the books to bet him at 10-1 right now. That's not going to change. He's just going to remain around this area, going forward. So not one I would race to bet, but definitely not a bad bet and deserved favorite, I think, for sure.
See, and that's the thing. He doesn't have a 500 win. Yeah, he's got to win on this track, but I don't know. To me, if I'm going to bet 9-1 or even 10-1 on a Daytona 500 winner, it's going to be somebody that's done it before. That in my opinion
has got 3 of them.
Like Denny Hamlin. Yeah, like Denny Hamlin. Like that's a much safer. What is he on this one? Denny Hamlin 12-1.
I'm seeing 11-1, 12-1. So of this favorites group, Denny's probably the one I would go with, not to jump ahead, but
no, and I was going to actually go there. So Chris Buescher 11-1, Elliott.
Yeah, Chris Buescher at 11-1. No, thank you. Love Busher. He won here in the fall, right? I get it, but it's just too short for. And we know how good those RFK guys are at the super speedways. I don't know. That's I'm not that sold on Chris Busher to dive that low on his odds yet.
Well, and again, I mean, this is funny because we preface this by saying anybody can win, and then we're like, but I don't know if this guy
definitely can win for sure. But there's a big difference in can he win and should you bet him at 12-1 or 11-1? Like, that's the conversation we're having. Can he win this race? He won in the fall. Obviously, he can win here, and we've seen how good they've, the RFK cars have been and worked together. Brad has no problem pushing him to victory, even though Brad's not won a 500 yet either. But that's not probably where, at least at this point, where I would want to put my money at a short, those short of odds. I don't have so much faith in Chris Busch that I'm one to lay that low of a number on him.
Yeah, and again, for those of you who have listened forever, you know how we do this, right? We talk about what the bets that we think make sense and not necessarily who we think is going to win.
Well, and that's the weekly conversation about Kyle Larson, right? Everywhere that's not a super speedway. Yeah, he's probably going to be the guy that should be the favorite. He's probably going to be the guy that should win, but very few and far in between where he's actually worth betting on. And then we see different numbers on guys throughout the season, and as far as Xfinity and stuff. And sure, Kyle Busch is racing in the Xfinity Series, but is he worth laying minus money on? And when he's not won that many races in the Cali car and stuff like that. So can they win? And should you bet on them at that number? Two completely separate conversations, obviously.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess as we start to get into the thing about it, they've lumped all of these guys together. They've lumped the Blaney, the Keselowski, the Hamlin, the Elliott. They put them all under a blanket. And I think the separation comes, I think, at Christopher Bell, but even that is only at 15-1. Kyle Larson at 15-1. Don't ever touch that on a super speedway.
I think somebody said in the Discord a couple weeks ago, but like, if he's gonna win one, isn't this like, doesn't he just win a Daytona 500 just because he's Kyle Larson and like that's the one he happens to make it to the end at? And like,
punch that
you had like guys like Dale Earnhardt that tried 20 years of trials and tribulations, and he finally gets it. And then like Kyle Larson, the worst super speedway racer in history as far as like really good race car drivers, and he would get it done. But yeah, you don't bet Kyle Larson. Again, there's one commandment when it comes to betting on super speedways, or at least the first commandment is fade Kyle Larson. We will be heavy on fading him in head-to-head matchups. Love him. We talked about how great he is, best driver in the world. Not good at super speedways.
Unless that's what you want to. I mean, I'm not here to tell you not. I mean, look, we're here to tell you not to. But look, I mean, that's something you want to do. Then go ahead.
Yeah. And again, anybody can win this race. So if you want to bet him at 16-1, go for it. Not where I'm going to put my money for sure, just because the numbers don't lie, right? He's got one career top 5 finish on a super speedway.
And you're not going to get him at 16-1
right anywhere else.
So
yeah, go for it if you feel like it. And he could win, and if he wins, good for him and great. But yeah, it's not a good bet in my opinion, even if he does win. Like, it's awesome if you hit it, but I would not advise taking that bet for sure.
No. So, all right, let's build a little more separation. I'll give you the 18 to 20, 25, I guess. Boy, they really did build these together. There's Bubba Wallace at 18-1, Kyle Busch at 18-1, Chastain at 20-1. Oh, you know what? I'm getting ahead of myself. It's time. It's time real quick to tell you.
We take a week off. Rod gets rusty.
Oh my God. It's like I've never done this before in my life. But what I have done is told you about Gametime and buying tickets. Hate buying tickets. Can't stand buying tickets. If there was one thing that I could never do again in my life and be happy with, that's buy tickets. But luckily, I don't have to worry about that anymore because Gametime has saved me from the pain of buying tickets. And not just buying tickets, but buying last-minute tickets, because there's a lot of times where I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it to an event until sometimes even the day before. And you know how frustrating that gets when you're trying to buy tickets the day before the event. Because first of all, even if they're not sold out, they're gouged to high. Hell, they charge you 4, 5, 6 times sometimes what you would pay if you were, lucky enough to know if you were going to be able to go a month in advance. But Gametime stops all of that. You can get all your favorite tickets at the lowest price guaranteed. Plus your ticket's going to be on time and authentic. That is the Gametime guarantee. Plus, you get all the lowest prices. Like I said, lower fees, best prices. They're going to give you 110% of the difference if you happen to find a lower price somewhere else. They're going to make up the difference 110%. Put that extra money in your pocket. Go buy yourself a couple extra adult beverages at that concert. Have some fun. Plus, it's made for mobile. Last minute plans have never been easier. You could buy the tickets. You could send them to your friends if you need to, or split the cost or whatever. Get to the venue, all of it from your phone. Plus, they're going to send you a ticket or a picture of the seat that you're sitting in. Tell you right now, it's the best thing you can do for yourself. Snag the tickets without the stress with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code CFBX for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CFBX for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. We are also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets. Win bigger by betting smarter this NFL season with Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Research every NFL, NBA, MLB, and soccer bet with historical stats and data. You can enter any parlay idea into Hall of Fame Bets revolutionary parlay optimizer tool. You're going to get hit rates broken down by leg as well as an expected probability for the entire parlay. Sort all players by hit rates for any bet to learn which players are hot and which picks have value. Stop betting in the dark. Join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame Bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit HOFBets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off of your first month today. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame Bets. Okay, now, Cody, I can proceed into the rest of this tier that I was getting into. So I started with Bubba Larson.
Bubba Larson. Ooh.
I swear to God, a week off is the most vicious thing that you could ever do to somebody. Like, you're killing my.
All right, it's decided. No more weeks off for us. We're gonna just keep doing content all off season. There you go.
All off season. Screw everything. All right. Bubba Wallace, 18-1. Kyle Busch, 18-1. Chastain, 20-1. Reddick, 20-1. Stenhouse, the winner of the last Daytona 500, 22-1. Truex, 25. Briscoe, 25. Barry, 25. Any surprises? Any names? Barry 25 though. That we'll
that's
get to
the
in a
surprise.
second,
Yeah, no, that is the surprise. Why is Josh Berry 25-1? What has Josh Berry ever done that makes him 25-1? He's gonna be in the 4 car. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, I need to pull him up. Like, this is the one that really just shocked me. I mean, what has he done? He doesn't. I mean, we talk about Xfinity Series all the time, obviously, right? And when has he impressed you in the Xfinity Series? I mean, he's got 5 starts on Daytona and Xfinity, and 17th is his best finish. And of all the series, like we talk about every time, Xfinity seems to be the least chaotic as far as there's still the big ones and stuff, but like the favorites tend to be up front more so than in the other series. And so he's in the 4 car. Like, that's the only reason he's 25-1. No way. I would not bet Josh Berry to win this race. And I'm completely shocked that his number is this low or high, low. Yeah. Why is his number this low? Why is he only 25? He should be 50, 75-1, not 25-1. It blows my mind.
Well, and the fact that he's within the same vicinity as guys like Truex, as guys like, I mean, I know he's not necessarily close to Tyler Reddick, but I mean, Tyler Reddick, Chastain, it's only a 500-point difference. And of course, we're talking NASCAR. That's not a very big difference, but it's still kind of a big difference. But, you know, around the Cindrics, around the Gibbs, like, I don't, you're right. I don't understand.
He's got better odds than Austin Cindric, who has literally won the Daytona 500 before.
Yeah, I don't understand it either. It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm definitely not touching Barry.
Yeah, like this kind of area is different and weird. So Bubba Wallace, 18-1. I mean, of active drivers, he's got the best average finish of anyone. 10.5 through 8 races. He has been really good here. I think he's a great bet at this number at 18-1.
Won at Talladega, right? I mean,
yeah, he's won at Talladega before. You just go back and look, and he is, like Blaney, one of the best guys on super speedways, continues to show up. You imagine if he wins the Daytona 500, like the storyline behind that. Kyle Busch, he's almost at the Earnhardt type of thing where it's he's been trying and he's great and he's got the championships and he's done all that. He's back in an RCR car and he was going to win this race at the end of regulation and cash our tickets for us last season. And then he didn't in overtime. And that's how it went. Right. But 18-1, I would also take Kyle Busch. Love him. He's shown up big on the super speedways this past season. He won the first Talladega race, I do believe. So, obviously that 8 car, they've got their package figured out. We know Austin Dillon's won the Daytona 500 before as champion or his teammate. And he's really good at super speedways. So those guys are definitely the favorites of this group, obviously, but a lot of wild cards behind that. Chastain, Reddick. I mean, again, Chastain's won before on super speedway. Reddick hasn't. Wild cards. Stenhouse, we saw him win it last year, but a big wild card. Really hard to repeat the Daytona 500. Truex, also not good at super speedways. Wouldn't touch him. Briscoe, he's a guy that always shows up, so he'll definitely be somebody to look at. I don't know about winning, but we'll see what his top 5, top 10 number is. Definitely something I'd want to entertain.
Yeah, and honestly, too, when you get into this range, for Kyle Busch, I'm just burned. I'm done. I'm with Justin though. I'm rooting for
Matt Kenseth. Hey, Matt Kenseth is like a driver coach, I think, for Legacy Motor Club now.
He is.
Sorry, I got to put my pinky up. So when you say Legacy Motor Club, it's required. Here, I'll take a sip of my beer.
Yes. Oh, that's what I should have
There
done.
we go. You should. Yeah, we got to bring. It's off season. We got to bring the beers. I got nice local Empyrean Brewing Company. Shout out to them. Winter Wisdom Hazelnut Brown Ale. Ugh, it's absolutely delicious. But anyways, Matt Kenseth is Legacy Motor Club. He's a coach for them. Gonna be their first race with Toyota. John Hunter Nemechek. He's all right on super speedways. And Eric Jones, Talladega more so than Daytona, but very good on super speedways as well. So maybe Matt Kenseth will get the Daytona 500 win through them. There you go, Justin. We'll root for that.
I'll tell you what, though, I'm gonna skip right now to that 45-1 for John Hunter Nemechek. That, my friend, is a very juicy number.
Just announced this week, Ben Bayshore is going to come with him and then move up from the Xfinity Series to be his crew chief with him. Hey, Austin Cindric just did it, right? Coming in first. And now John Hunter's got a full season of Cup in his pocket already. He's not going to be a rookie, but first season coming back up through, and on a bigger team here, making that big switch to Toyota. So this is going to be something that's going to be really fun and interesting to talk about because in the past, it's only been the 6 Toyotas, Rod. Now there's going to be 8 Toyotas. If you get that extra 2311 entry, you're going to have 9 Toyotas possibly. 9 Toyotas. Toyota's always had to tag along with Chevy. They've always had to tag along with Ford on the pit strategies. Maybe that starts to shift. Toyota could see a very big bump and they've got great super speedway racers. Denny Hamlin, probably the best in the business, right? Bubba Wallace, one of the best in the business as well. So that's going to be big for Toyota. I think having those, again, we see guys, end up working together, but having those other Toyotas out there in a bigger field going to hurt our top Toyota bets we like to make a big group out of, but that's okay. Maybe we'll get some bigger numbers on the longer guys, but that's going to be a fun angle to look at going into the 500 as well.
Yeah, drafting partners on super speedways, much like drafting partners in fantasy football, the more the merrier, basically. And Toyota's probably going to have a lot more fun in their meeting room talking about how they can get together now and keep up. I mean, I have a feeling they were probably going to call Dodge at some point and say, hey, can you come back and just be our friends for a little while? Yeah, just come back in the sport. I would
love to see Dodge back in the sport so badly.
How about Honda? Let's put Red Bull in.
Hey, Honda, why not? I mean, Honda, they got these commercials, right? They told us we couldn't do electric bikes. They told us we couldn't win F1 championships. They told us we couldn't win a NASCAR championship. Do it. Come on. That's the next generation of Honda commercials. What are you waiting for?
Honda Red Bull in the oh my god.
Red Bull's been in NASCAR before.
Yeah, they have.
Bring them back. Let's do it.
All right, so John Hunter Nemechek, like I said, 45-1, kind of skipped over a lot of these other guys in the middle. Like we said, Cindric 28-1 to win. He already did it. Ty Gibbs 30-1.
The heart says bet that one.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
I don't know about the head. Yeah, that's a little
the heart
tough.
will probably bet that one anyways because I want to see Ty Gibbs win it.
Well, if we think that John Hunter can get it done, Ty Gibbs can too, right?
Yeah, and he can. He's a good super speedway guy. I don't have to look back. I don't remember if he won any super speedways in his Xfinity days, but he's been solid on them. And was it? I want to say Talladega spring where he was leading late and ended up running out of fuel. Maybe he would have had a chance there. So yeah, he's a guy you could look at. Cindric's won it before. The Penske cars are always good, so you've always got that argument to make. Bowman doesn't do much for me. Eric Jones, I love at Dega, not as much at Daytona. Dillon's done it before. He's really good here. He was second place at the end of regulation, pushing Kyle Busch. So, McDowell's won here before as well, 35-1. Priest is a good super speedway guy. Yeah.
And that's where you stop. That's funny. Well,
yeah,
look,
Daniel.
Suarez 40-1, Hocevar 45-1. I'm definitely not taking Hocevar. As much as we loved him in the Truck Series, I still don't think he's got his feet underneath him in the Cup Series yet. 45-1, I'd rather take that shot on John Hunter.
Yeah, well, and like Hocevar, and this has been talked about a lot, like he's going to have to do what Ty Gibbs did this season. And, Ty Gibbs, the Xfinity Series, it was pretty edgy, and he raced a certain way, and people noticed that. And he did an amazing job in his rookie season of just staying out of trouble, earning the respect of the people around him. Hocevar, especially after the championship race, the Cup Series guys are going to see that, and he had some issues at Martinsville in the Cup Series as well with Ty Gibbs and with Joey Logano even, and they're not going to want to work with him in the Daytona 500, and so it's going to be tougher for a guy like that doesn't have that respect, that needs to earn that respect. Whereas a guy like John Hunter, he's already got that respect. I think he comes off as a clean driver. He's got the good relationship. He's been a Cup guy before, all of that stuff. So love Hocevar. He really needs to have himself a Ty Gibbs season, basically, and rebuild that image, which he was doing so good at doing. Oh, and he fucked it all up.
Sure did. JDK, better late than never. What's shaking, boys?
JDK, how's it going? Yeah, talking some Daytona 500 odds. So as you kind of go down through here, Suarez 40-1, no thanks. Talked about Hocevar, talked about Nemechek. Haley at 50-1.
I still can't.
In a Colleague car, yes. In a Rick Ware car, I gotta see it first.
It's sad because I would.
I want to know his top 10 and top 5 odds. That's what I'm gonna be looking at for Haley, because I think I probably will get in on those, because he's really not getting disrespected that much. I mean, really, he's this 50-1. That's got to be the best odds you've ever seen for a Rick Ware car to win a race. I mean, that's pretty good for a guy like that. So
what did I say BJ McLeod was last year?
Right. Yeah, like 300-1 or 350-1, I think he said.
350-1. That's what he was.
Yeah. Again, I mentioned at the top of the show, right? Rick Ware actually has a chance to win this race because of a guy like Justin Haley. Only 50-1. I don't know if I'd go there. He who shall not be named 50-1. If you're new to the show, Daniel Hemrick is his name. He's cost me a lot of money betting, and I don't like talking about him, so I prefer not to say his name. But for the sake of you might be new, I will mention it this time. But he who shall not be named. What is he in the 31? Do we even know what number? I think he's in the 31 for sure, and then the 16 is the one we don't even know who's driving the 16 yet. What are we waiting for? Or the 10? But
put AJ Allmendinger back in it for the 500. Just let him do one.
Dude, AJ's good at Daytona. I would bet AJ to win the 500.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have a third Colleague car, right? They've been doing it every time. Put AJ in the car. Well, you should. Well, we should see it. Hopefully, we'll see.
Well, AJ last year was 40-1 to win.
Yeah, and he finished what? Didn't he finish third or top 5? I think he cashed us. Maybe that was the 500 before that.
I'm pulling up the 500 from last year. AJ Allmendinger. That was Cindric. That was 2022. That was the duels. Never mind.
Yeah, no, I hate how they have the duels lumped in here with it, because it makes the statistics a little hard. So he finished 6th. Yeah, he was 6th in the 500 this past season, and his previous 500 before that had been back in 18, but he was 3rd in that one. Prior to that, he was 3rd in 2017. So yeah, again, he's not listed because we don't know that he's racing, but if he does, he's a guy we'll definitely be talking about, because he's really good. As much as he's a road course guy, super good at super speedways. Todd Gilliland, 60-1. Again, he might be a guy you look top 10, top 5 odds. I don't know if he's a guy you're winning. If you're new to the show, president of the Corey Lajoie fan club, I've got his beautiful face here on the YouTube channel.
But are you climbing that ladder all the way to the top?
I will climb that ladder all the way to the fucking top. Corey Lajoie, 2024 Daytona 500 champion, locks himself into the playoffs, gets the new era of Spire off to a good start. 75 to 1. You can go ahead and place this bet now and thank me later.
Oh, will he have Gainbridge? I think he's going to have Gainbridge on his car at that point, won't he?
Will. I think that he's so, like, if you look, he's 15th on the and I don't know how far back this goes. Is this over the last 8 races of average driver finishes? But that includes, well, no, there's got to be more, because that includes guys like Gone, McMurray. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's only 8 active drivers that have a better average finish over the last 8 races than Corey Lajoie at Daytona. So it's pretty good, right? He finished 10th here in the fall. He was 16th in the spring at the 500, but Daytona's definitely been his toughest as far as the super speedways go. Atlanta's been his track, and that's where we almost hit him 250 to 1 a couple seasons ago. We've I'm trying to remember. I think it was at Atlanta where he cashed us like a 33 to 1 top Chevy earlier this season. And he's been at Talladega as well, but he's been great at Daytona. You've seen him there at the end a couple of times. I will ride that ladder. I'll bet him top 10. I'll bet him top 5. I'm going to bet him to win the race. Bet him top Chevrolet. Again, if you tune into the Daytona 500 episode, which you better do, you're going to hear all those bets. But Corey Lajoie's made me a lot of money over the years on super speedways. I cannot quit betting this guy. I'm not going to quit, especially going into what's going to be his best season. I'm super pumped. You got to be there at the end, Rod. Only one driver this past season made it to the end of every single race. No DNFs. That was Corey Lajoie. So thank you for coming to my Corey Lajoie fan club speech. We can move on to the rest of the field now.
That's funny. Well, so I'm going to make the show sheet for the episode I'm already just going to put just flat out.
Yeah,
Corey Lajoie.
that block is already reserved.
Yeah, it is. And then, of course, the last 2 on the list, 75 to 1 for Harrison Burton, Zane Smith at 100 to 1.
Zane Smith at 100 to 1. Go bet that right now.
Yeah, that'll be, yeah. Cause I mean, again, this is the type of chaos that kind of thing is built for, right? This is exactly the type of long shot you want.
Why is Zane Smith this long of odds? I'm not really sure. It doesn't really make a ton of sense to me. And he's got next gen starts on super speedways too, because he was racing in the extra front row car this past season. So you look at the trucks, the last 2 times he's been at Daytona, he's won. And his first 2 career starts, he was 11th and 16th, which, again, you're making it to the end of these races. Why he is this long of odds, I don't know. And he could be that surprise guy that you look at and you're like, that add to that list of Trevor Bayne and Austin Cindric, and whoa, he all of a sudden, got this good finish. And you look at him, this list I was talking about earlier, he's 8th on this list. He's started Daytona and he finished 13th in it. But he finished, he's got, because that was the duel. So 13th in his 1 start. It's a pretty solid run. Again, make it to the end, Rod. If you're there at the end, you can be there to win it. 100 to 1. I think you've definitely got to bet Zane Smith. And I would get in on it early before it gets some money on it, just because that's a number that could move for sure. It's definitely worth it. And you can sit on 100 to 1 for a few weeks, or 100 to 1, 1,000 to 1, right? Because it'd be
1,000 to 1. Yeah,
1,000 to 1. Not 100. Don't bet him 100 to 1.
No, don't bet 100 to 1. No, and honestly, here's the thing: the whole Zane Smith, Josh Berry thing. I would definitely take Zane Smith over Josh Berry in this instance, as far as who I would take.
If they were both 100 to 1, I would bet Zane Smith before I would bet Josh Berry.
Easily. And that's what I'm saying. It's
speed
weird.
in the 4 car doesn't mean anything, especially at Daytona.
Yeah, that's not one that's
baffles me.
well.
I don't know. But
that's why we do these early episodes, right? To figure out where you can get the early deals. And I think this is definitely an early deal. I'm going to love to see where this one moves as we get closer to the Daytona 500, because this is definitely going to move.
Yeah, it'll probably hang up back a little bit just because it is that extra, Spire car, but he's going to have Trackhouse support. He's going to be working with those Trackhouse guys. You get a Chastain up there. You get a Corey Lajoie who's good at super speedways. These guys work together. He's definitely a long price. So as far as long shots go, Zane Smith, Corey Lajoie, I would get in on both these guys. You can find them. Lajoie here, I'm seeing him 80 to 1, 100 to 1 on Zane Smith. So I would definitely get those long shot tickets in early.
Indeed. All right. Any other people that we skipped over that we kind of want to talk? There's nobody on here that I want to highlight that we haven't already talked about.
Yeah, not really. I mean, going back up to the top, Hamlin, of the favorites, I would say is the guy I would look at 11-1. Again, there's no reason to bet any of these favorites now. Elliott 11-1. He's really good at Daytona as well. You can always look at the Penske guys. Larson, you stay away from it. Really, I think we kind of touched on everybody else that needed to be touched on. If I'm placing bets today, which I am, Zane Smith, Corey Lajoie, those are definitely the ones that are getting in early. The rest of them, keep an eye on them, see if they move a lot. But those are definitely the bets I would go ahead and just get in on now before when they're the longest odds like that, they've got the best chance of moving down as people start to put their money down on it.
That is, of course, the truth. All right. Well, then, I feel like we did this some pretty good damage. I think we've got some good analysis in on this. Obviously, as we start to get closer toward the season, we'll update you on the odds. And then, of course, we'll be back again this week. We're going to continue. Like I said, no more days off because I forget how to do this. So,
it feels so good. Ugh. It feels so good, Rod. We're talking about racing, talking about betting on NASCAR again. I know it's 90 some days away. I get it, but doesn't it feel good to talk about it? Go play some bets, get the juices flowing. Start thinking about the Daytona 500. Oh, I love super speedway racing. Betting on super speedways. Again, we'll have the conversation when we get there. It is the trickiest kind, but it is the most fun way to bet, in my opinion. I am fucking pumped, and I cannot wait.
I cannot wait as well. All right. Speaking of cannot wait, I can't wait for our next episode, which will be coming very shortly. Probably Thursday. Keep your eye on the feed.
Championship odds to talk about.
We have championship odds to talk about, and we definitely will. And we'll give you all the car numbers for all 99 cars all in one episode. So if you're into that kind of thing and the history, all 99 cars and car numbers, maybe even the 100s that are out there. So get set for that 4-hour blockbuster of a show coming up soon. I'm just kidding.
Here's your fun history fact for the day, Rod. Do you know who has the most starts in the NASCAR Cup Series? In the number 96 car, it is 96 days until the Daytona 500.
Who has the most start in the 96 car?
Mm-hmm.
Fireball Roberts. No, I'm just kidding. I have no clue.
Richard Childress.
Really?
Yes, he has 108 starts, no wins, 3 top 5s, 20 top 10s in the 96 car.
History forgot about who that guy was then. That's no wins.
What's that guy doing these days?
No idea.
Whatever happened to him?
He's probably running a Foster's Freeze somewhere in the Northeast where they don't even eat ice cream for 9 months out of the year. All right.
On that note, it's time to move on.
Let's get out of here before I completely isolate the entire East Coast of this great nation of ours. But all right, Cody, as we are ushering ourselves out the door, why don't you let everybody know where they can find you?
Yes, follow me on the X at Husker_Zeeb. You can find all my work over there. Old Fashioned Football. Make sure you go subscribe to those guys. Great show, obviously. Love Justin, love Miranda. We're going to be filling in for Miranda while she's taking a day off on Thursday. So check us out over there, hanging out with our buddy Justin. Pumped for that. It's going to be a good time. So if you listen to this, obviously, for this week, go check that out. And, be back all off season. Don't go anywhere. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the YouTube bell. We're going to be going live for a lot of these shows in the off season. We got time for questions. We got time to chit-chat. There's nothing pressing. Get in the conversation. We'll address you. Come talk shit if you beat me in fantasy football. Doesn't happen very often, but every once in a while, even a Nick Fortune can win.
Take notes, everybody. It takes 2 of us to replace Miranda on the show. I just want you to know. So.
True, and it still won't be as good, but
it'll
be all right.
Not nearly as good. All right. I'm on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in the bio, everything I got going on, whether it's here, Sportsbook Review. Still got some props cutting. JDK, we love you too.
Love you too, JDK.
For the NFL, that's still going on. I got some Grey Cup coming out for that as well. So if you're so inclined, the CFL, follow that as well. Look, there's still a couple of racing things going on. So keep an eye out. They put out some motocross odds or something like that.
Hey, yeah. Check out the F1 Gambling Podcast too. Again, it's in the NASCAR feed. Just go listen. They're in Vegas. We got climbing some ladders this week. We're making some money. Go get over there.
Indeed. All right. We'll see you guys later on this week for some championship talk on the odds. And until then, everyone, let's go racing and let it ride.